Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Trainer Feed. We have a special guest on today with us, Francine Delgado-Lugo, so really excited to bring her on shortly. But before we do that, let's go see how everyone's doing. David, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I just finished a workout. Did a couple of swings. I didn't get much sleep last night. I don't know, for some reason I couldn't fall asleep. But other than that, everything's good. I'm just trying to get amped up to continue my workouts. It's been a good week, so try to keep it going.
Nice. Angel, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I was telling David a little story about how one of my adjustable dumbbells kind of broke off halfway through a set and the weights went flying, but everybody survived.
Okay. Wow.
But more importantly, you got blonde hair. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I've been getting so much shit on social media saying you like the new Slim Shady. It's actually meant to be silver.
So. Like NSYNC reject.
Yeah, but I mean, look, like you guys didn't see it. Well, you guys saw on Friday. It looked like a mustard yellow, and that was. Everyone's like, "Yeah, it's nice," and I was like, "No, it's not."
I'm gonna call you Stan from now on.
Yeah.
You probably don't get it. If you don't get
it,
I don't get it. So maybe later, maybe I'll get ripped for that as well. So, but no, feeling good. It's been some seriously nice weather until like
Thursday. Disgusting.
Well, not humid, yeah. But Tuesday was glorious, man. We were outside like the whole day. Yeah, excited for this. Excited to have Francine on. Speaking of which, shall we let her in?
Sure.
Good. Yeah. Hey, Francine, thank you for joining us. How you feeling?
What's up?
Hi.
How you doing?
What's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Good. Everything's good.
Look at you guys. Hi. Not like I don't see you every day on Instagram, but
yeah,
not the same.
How have you been?
Not the same. I'm good. I'm hanging in there. How you guys doing?
We're all good.
Trying to make it with this fucking pandemic. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of nasty stuff going on in the world right now.
And that too, yeah. In the last couple of days, yeah, that's pretty hard to watch and to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially when we're trapped in our homes.
Yeah.
Have you been homeschooling?
I am homeschooling.
Okay.
That must be fun.
Yeah, how's that process? How's Malachi?
Malachi is good. I think kids are way more resilient than adults.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think they also mirror our behavior. So, I think my husband and I are doing our best to try to model cool, calm behavior so that he also can receive that message and behave the same way. But at first he's definitely like a computer kind of kid. He likes video games. He's into being on the tablet and being in a virtual
world. I'll get on Fortnite with him later.
Yeah, he's totally into FIFA soccer. So if you want to play him a live match, he'll be there.
Do it.
Don't get sprayed.
Fortnite is so second grade or third grade. He's in.
Oh, David, you shut down.
Hey, listen. If I can make $3 million off of it, I'm gonna try my ass off.
Like that's definitely a prospect. But yeah, so in the beginning, school was something that he was really into. Getting on Zoom and seeing his friends and laying in bed and going to class.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still make him get up every day and get dressed and get presentable and brush his teeth and eat breakfast before school starts.
Saturday morning, Sunday morning, cleaning the entire apartment, blasting the music on in the morning.
Yep. It's just now 7 days a week.
How's your shop?
The shop's good. Thanks for asking.
Right.
We, by the grace of God, right, we sell food, so we are considered an essential service. And we've stayed open. And we're working on a reduced schedule so that the staff who work with my husband are able to get some rest, and so that we can we're kind of crazy about keeping the place clean anyway, but really keeping it clean and just disinfecting everything every day, so that every day, again, we start fresh. And allowing 2 people in at a time. So they're busy, they're working hard. And, you know, we've, on several occasions, have done free meals for older folks in the community. And slowly but surely have been expanding that to everyone, because there are so many unemployed people right now in Brooklyn. So just trying to do what we can to really serve the community.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we all know you from West 76th Street, Equinox. But can you tell us a bit more about like what your path was into becoming the fitness manager at the club?
Sure. So I, about 10 years ago, decided to pursue for a career in personal training. And I was a member at Equinox, and I had a personal trainer, someone that I was working with 3 times a week, and had a really transformative experience. It was probably the first time in my adult life. I had been doing other work for about 15 years. And it was probably for the first time in my adult life that I realized that I really just wanted to be pursuing movement and understanding movement. And I wanted to work with people who had an experience like mine, where, you know, I was working ridiculous hours, slave to a desk, you know, just always on the go, never having time for myself, not having time for my family. I had a baby at home, and I wanted to spend more time with him. So that definitely was a factor for me. I wanted to have some flexibility in my scheduling. And so I decided to pursue my CPT, my certificate in personal training. And, you know, at the time I felt like Equinox was the best gym in the world. And so there was no other place that I wanted to work. I applied for a job at Equinox and started working as a personal trainer in the Brooklyn Heights Equinox. And I spent a couple of years there, worked up to Tier 3+ trainer there, and was offered an opportunity within management. And because I had a background in management, it made sense for me to do that. So I went through the management training program and had a brief stint as a manager in training at the 19th Street gym, which was my original Equinox gym. And then from there landed at 76th Street and spent 3 of my happiest years with some of the greatest people at Equinox 76th Street.
It was 3 years. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you went on to do like more regional roles with fitness manager, right?
Right. So from there, after I was at 76th Street, I moved on to the 92nd Street Club, and then was
which
managing.
We were so upset about, by the way. We were really upset.
Still haven't gotten over it.
Yeah,
still.
you know, I was really sad to leave you all, and you know that, and it was really tough. But I was welcomed with wide, big arms from the 92nd Street team. So my family expanded, and I worked with them for a while, and then was given an opportunity to take on support for additional clubs. And so was working with the 92nd Street team, was working with the Bond Street team, and also still working closely with 76th Street, and had the opportunity to then do more work by moving back to Brooklyn and taking on some support with the Brooklyn team right back in Brooklyn Heights. So yeah, got the opportunity to do a bunch of different things with Equinox and support several teams at once at a critical time for the company, when the company was really at its kind of pinnacle of growth and expansion. I know that continues. But, the PT team was reinventing itself at the time and really working to redefine what the fitness manager role looks like, what the personal training manager role looks like. And I was very lucky to play a role in all of that.
I think we can all agree we were very fortunate to be under your wing under those years. I know I mentioned something from a few episodes ago, and I think one of the first times we had a meeting with coach and queuing, and you're like, just doesn't need to be physical, it can be more verbal, and that's something that's stuck with me and probably a lot of people to this day. And
you're in crutches, all right?
Sorry?
You're in crutches, man.
When I was on crutches, exactly.
Was that before?
Yeah, one of the first times. So, and it's been so key to virtual training, which we'll probably go into more detail about, sat here from a screen, possible connection issues, and being able to coach the whole. So that's something that to this day still sticks to me. Speaking of big movements in the industry and big projects, you've been part of opening Form Fitness. How in Brooklyn? How has that been?
Yeah, it has been quite an amazing experience. So I am very lucky that one of my dearest friends, who was also formerly an Equinox trainer, has over the last few years, she doesn't like to call herself this, but she's become a little bit of a celebrity trainer in the plus size world and the plus size body positive movement. And she had moved on from Equinox right around the same time that my husband was starting his business. And I had to step down from Equinox because he was starting his business and there were some implications for our family structure. And I needed to pull away, help him, and was looking for ways to kind of stay involved as a trainer, because I didn't want my dream to kind of get lost in his dream, and he didn't want that for me either. And so I stayed on a little bit part-time with Equinox for a while, and then it became very clear that I wasn't going to be able to do that for very long. And then, like I said, my dear friend, who was also kind of starting up her business, was leaving Equinox, and she was operating out of her apartment and was seeing all kinds of folks, and was in the process of building a business. And she wanted to open up a brick and mortar, and I kept saying, do it. And she kept saying, I can't do it alone. And I kept saying, yes, you can. And she kept saying, no, I can't. And by the way, don't forget, you and I always said we were going to open a business together. Now's the time. You're not at Equinox anymore. I'm not at Equinox anymore. Let's make this happen. And so after a lot of kind of hemming and hawing and trying to figure it out, we opened up Form Fitness last year. And Form Fitness is a personal training studio that is ultimately a space that allows anyone, regardless of who they are, to realize his or her or their own personal fitness goals, right? And so it's an environment where you can rest assured that you're not going to be told that you need to fit a certain body type mold. You're not going to be told that the only way to achieve fitness is by moving only a specific way. You're not going to be told that the only way to achieve your goals is to starve yourself or to overfeed yourself or to lose sight of being the best version of you. And so, we definitely opened with a specific market in mind, really opening up a safe space for people who don't feel like they fit into the traditional global gym environment to come in. So all the gym misfits, if you will, if there's such a thing. I know it's not necessarily intended, but I think that is a collateral consequence of what happens in a global gym environment. We buy into the aesthetics, we buy into, looking a certain way, and we lose sight of the fact that every body is a valid body. And every body is a body that needs to be strong, and every body is a body that needs to move in order for it to be its best.
Nice. I think it goes up. How long has it been open for? Form Fitness?
Form Fitness opened about a year and 4 months ago.
Nice. So
Almost 6 months.
Why does it feel like it's been open for longer? For me, at least. I don't know. It's been there.
It's going. You know what? It's going to be. I'm probably not thinking about it right. September of this year will be the 2nd anniversary.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Has like, so obviously, you know how 76th Street was, you can't drop the weights because it like creates like a whole earthquake. Like I'm sure now you can do that at Form Fitness, right? You can just drop the weight again, no judgment, no like global gym scene.
Yeah.
But, what has we've seen some of your workout. I always got to drug the index, you know how it is. But what have your workouts? We've seen some of your videos, but tell us a bit more about your workout routine. What it's looking like in this quarantine period.
Yeah. Well, so quarantine has really put a damper on what I thought my fitness was supposed to be.
Tell me about it.
So I, over the last few years, have really been committed to weightlifting and powerlifting a little bit more recently. But, you know, I was competing in weightlifting even, you know, up until December of last year, was competing. The last couple of years with opening 2 businesses, I've not been, you know, competing as much as I would like, or as laser focused as I would like. But, you know, I was married to the barbell. You know, it was a pretty serious relationship. And then March 15th, I found myself with my living room, a yoga mat, a handful of kettlebells, and I finally now have a jump rope and a set of dumbbells that we added to the mix. And a pull-up bar. And so, what was that?
That's all you need.
I mean, it turns out that that's all you need.
Yeah.
You know, so I pretty much was like, okay, I'm just going to stick to all the accessory work that I was doing, and I'll just use kettlebells, and I'm just going to focus on moving. And in the beginning, my focus on movement was just about trying to maintain a routine, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, just really trying to keep myself at least focused on something, because there were a whole lot of I don't knows that I and the whole world are dealing with. And, you know, it got to a point, as you guys know, where every day we were opening up the newspapers or the headlines on our phones, and hundreds of people are dying, and just thousands of people. And it just was really overwhelming. And so all I wanted was to be able to move, and have something to focus on.
And you have a rooftop as well to work out outside?
We do. And so
That's
first it was raining all the time, and it was cold outside. And I run very cold. So it's not until the last couple days, right, where it's been in the 70s, where I'm even willing to go outside and work out. And even my son, who's got soccer practice on Zoom, is like playing soccer inside the house. But yeah, I've moved out to the roof deck, which is helpful because I really believe that we need sunlight and vitamin D, right, for vitality. So I'm kind of checking off multiple boxes at once these days. But yeah, I mean, I think the pandemic has definitely changed my mindset about fitness, right?
In the sense that,
well, you don't need a lot, right? I think, you know, I don't want to send the wrong message to people, because I'll be the first one running into the gym when we can. But, you know, I think we create all of these sort of constructs, right, of what fitness should be and what it should be about. And we're all, even when we think we're not, we're still putting ourselves into boxes. And when all those boxes get taken away from you, right, like there's lots of people who just stopped working out, right, who maybe had a real strong fitness routine, but they stopped moving, right? And there are other people who didn't. I'm in that category of people who didn't. I'm not saying it's wrong that people didn't, because I think we've all been impacted differently. But there are lots of people who also stop moving because they can't take themselves out of that construct of being in
creativity
the gym.
aspect.
Right. And being with their machines and being with their dumbbells or moving with their trainer, right? Or only use if I am a power lifter, or if I am, I don't have a barbell, so I can't do things. There's a lot of people who kind of stuck to those constructs, right? And
I am.
I'm happy to. Okay, so you're one of those people. We can talk about that.
I'm gonna drop all the weights once I get to the gym. It's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I am really excited to look at my barbell again and pick it up and throw it on the floor and learn how to throw. I'm gonna literally have to learn how to throw it overhead again.
Fuck up my shoulders real quick. Watch.
Right? Of course. Right?
All the push-ups.
But there's oh my God, let's not talk about it. My shoulders was wrecked the first
I did
month
5
at
push-ups
home.
yesterday, and I stopped. I was like, fuck this. I sat right back in my couch.
I was like off the push-ups for like a good 4 weeks after the first month because I just was so wrecked.
30 push-up challenge.
It's like, I agree. It's like we've kind of touched about it a little bit on some of the previous episodes where agreed we all love, like I miss daily a squat rack and I miss doing some barbell deadlifts and back squats, front squats, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really have the space. And assuming it's available as well, right? The equipment, assuming it's available to come next week, I don't have the space to just doing like barbell complexes. So the most versatile tool, the most biggest bang for your buck is the kettlebell or the dumbbell. You can't. But something we've also spoken about, like, yes, if you were doing 4x10s of deadlifts or back squats, okay, you have a lighter dumbbell kettlebell. How about you do 4x25 or 30 with shorter record? Like, you've still got a very similar program and just tweaked a few of the variables, and the stress placed in the body is very different. Like, no one wants to be in the lockdown, no one wants to be a restricted program, but you have so many variables you can play with. And I think I spoke about this previously, that I've actually enjoyed thinking of how creative to have different spins on the program. Like, okay, like I've done the goblet squat with the one kettlebell the 3 different ways. I know there's got to be more ways of doing it. There's got to be more layers you can add on. So for that respect, it is quite enjoying factor to be able to do that, to be creative. So, but I like what you're saying, like, you just realize what you have is enough to do a substantial amount of a program, and then you just make the adjustments. 100%.
Yeah. And based on what you're saying too, even just working with other clients, right? Like, I have clients who I'm still training who have no equipment at all. Right. Or who maybe have a couple resistance bands. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And we as trainers, right, are finding ourselves kind of in this really interesting creative space right now. And there's something really freeing and elevating about that as well. And I'm really appreciative of having this opportunity to do that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Keep it simple is a big one too, right? I mean, you have so many options to do things with a certain piece of equipment, but when you find yourself at home, you don't have much, and then you have to just keep it simple sometimes. I remember once, I think I mentioned this example in a previous episode, when I was going through onboarding with Ashley. Jason was doing our meeting and asked us, like, give us, we were going over the 7 movements, like knee dominant or hip dominant. And then he looked at me, he's like, David, give me a knee dominant movement. I stared at the fucking sky. It was like, wait, what? And the dude, then he looked at me like, are you fucking kidding me, David? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, what the fuck you do all day? I'm like,
all day.
What? He's like, squat. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. So we could try that. I mean, it's just, at least myself, I always stick myself into this, like, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way. But in the grand scheme of things, just keeping it simple works for everyone, I think. Or can for everyone for a certain period of time.
Yeah, no, keeping it simple, right? And I think what's real easy to do is to think, oh, keeping it simple means not being creative, when in reality, they're very much related to one another. And it is. Sometimes we are so caught up in the equipment that we can't think about the most simple movements, right? And we're limiting our creativity because we have access to all of these things. And yet when you just have your body and just a couple of pieces of equipment, you're suddenly remembering all these fundamental movements or all these different things that you used to do or knew you were supposed to do that you hadn't been doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
mobility being one of them.
Yeah, mobility being a huge one of them, right? Especially those of us who are like, yeah, I'm just going to skip that and go right to the barbell. Right? Those of us who have a little bit of benefit, right? Because I know I'm one of those people, I'm super mobile. Oh, I don't need that. And then later on when I'm tight, I'm not understanding why I'm feeling tight, right? Well, because I neglected some of those things, right? So, hey, the last 10 weeks have been great.
I wanted to get into a couple of questions in regards to like your fitness career so far. And I think one perspective or one lens that we haven't kind of seen through was your experience as a client. Because you were a client for a while prior to becoming a trainer, correct?
I was, yes.
So I was just going to ask, like, what has that experience, how has that experience affected you as you developed into coaching and becoming a trainer, and then even your process as a manager, like in the fitness industry? Like, how did that start, which not everybody has? How has that kind of like shown itself or, replicated itself in your career?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question because it's actually everything. So I've worked with a couple of different trainers in my lifetime. And like I said, at Equinox, I was working with someone for 3 times a week who happened to be a fitness manager himself. He was probably, and continues to be, one of the most educated people I know, who's constantly educating himself, constantly going to things, but is yet one of the best examples of someone who keeps it simple. He's not coming in and like, let's do all the fun, crazy stuff, right? And $360. Yeah, and he from the very beginning was, that person who, when I say he's constantly educating himself, like he's going to all the FMS seminars, right? He's like, probably got the Foot Collective program done. Like he's, one of those kind of guys, right? Very like fundamental movement kind of people.
Yeah.
And so that obviously was reflected in his training with me and the way that he talked to me about movement, right? So there are trainers, and there's nothing wrong with it, but there are trainers who are like, okay, do this. And they're not giving you any context. And even if you ask for it, the answer might be, I want you to do it because I said to do it, or because you have to do it, right? I mean, and we know trainers like that.
Right.
And he wasn't like that. He was very open and willing to answer questions that I had. And I'm one of those people who's, why and how come and how does this relate, and isn't this exactly like what you made me do last time, and why are we doing it even though it's slightly different? And I know you all have had clients like that too, right? And if you don't feed them the information, then they're wondering why they have to do something, and that was me. And so that really helped me. And he was a professional, and he was on time always, and so I got great customer service. I had someone who was very knowledgeable in what he did, and that influenced my wanting to pay that forward, right? And I saw results, and I felt good, and I felt confident in myself, and I found myself wanting to keep doing sessions and wanting to do more. And then I found myself, and I was very lucky that, again, I was in a gym that where their gym culture was open and interested and wanting to learn from each other. So then I started talking to other trainers out on the floor, and they would share information with me. And so when I would say to them, hey, I'm thinking about applying to be a trainer or becoming a trainer, I didn't get, what are you, crazy? You're a client. Like, you don't get to become, like, it was like, no, you should do it. That would be great. And so that really excited me and made me want to become a trainer.
That's actually an interesting point that you brought up, because like that, you kind of like touched on like how the culture helps mold like the people who go to that gym and that environment so much, and so much so that it created a new career path for you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Had they been
absolutely.
like closed off or like, you know, just frowned at the idea about it, then you might have done something different or just not even stepped foot in the door in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the case. And I was at a gym where it's funny that we talk about that specifically because 76th Street, you know, our biggest thing, I think, at 76th Street together was about building a culture at our club. And I was going to my home gym as a client, and my perception of the culture in that club was that there was this unity. And they weren't necessarily the club that was like hitting performance numbers, but the group of trainers, you know, were a group of trainers who all were really into what they were doing. They were very diverse. And that appealed to me. I met my business partner there. She was someone who also, she didn't fit the mold of what a trainer was supposed to look like. And yet she was the top trainer, one of the most knowledgeable trainers. She was a master instructor for the company. And so being, you know, exposed to this individual also just, really opened my eyes to what training could be. And it wasn't just, you know, the Men's Health magazine look, right? It was something bigger than that. And that really appealed to me. And that's how it all kind of started.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you kind of like spoke about different things that I kind of see in you as like when you were managing us, you know, that explanatory sort of like mindset, right? You're not just telling us to do something because you just have to check a box. You're telling us to, hey, you should do this because this is going to impact your business from not only like this week, but next week and next month, and you're going to continue to grow. So I think that not only probably has it affected like how you coach and how you train, but also like how you manage and how you mentor people as well. So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
If nobody's ever said that, like that's something that I've observed.
I really appreciate that because I feel like that if there's anything that I would want from my experience or like a quote unquote legacy of having been at Equinox, it would be that. And that is how I learned not only, you know, my exposure to personal training and fitness, but in my previous work world as well. And at school, when I was in college and grad school, like that was, how I learned and how I saw successful people do better and become more successful, right? By learning and interacting and really kind of integrating whatever it is that they were learning into their lives. And so you can't just, it's like, I hate to use this example, it probably means nothing to you guys, but like new math, right? Like kids, and maybe some of you guys learn math this way, but math these days is all about explaining how you got your answer. You can't just stack the numbers up and add them and subtract them and write that on a piece of paper anymore.
Yeah. I remember my brother was asking me to help him once. My brother is like 7 years younger than I am. He's like, David, can you help me with this? I'm like, that's your answer. He's like, no. How did you get it? I'm like, by stacking the numbers on top. He's like, no, but what is, I'm like, you know what, man? I can't help you.
Yeah, no. And, I 9 times out of 10, I can't appreciate that that's what they have to do. Because, like, here's the answer. But think about, like, what kind of critical thinkers they're becoming from a young age because they have to talk their way and literally resolve their problem, right? And so, yeah, I just think back on my own experience and realize that, yeah, that's actually the way that you get to success. And so, yeah, I'm glad that that's an observation and that that's a mark that I've left on, even if it's just you, because that means a lot to me.
No, I'm sure these guys can also say the same thing.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree, Angel, for sure.
Going back to kind of like seeing things through clients' eyes, do you have any kind of like, you might have made mention to it before already, but like anything that your coach did differently that had you like change, like have some drastic change? Because we're always trying to elicit change or create an environment for change. Was there anything in specific that either the coach that you just previously spoke about did, or like all the other coaches have done in order to elicit change in you and your lifestyle?
So I think I personally was intrinsically motivated. I also will say, this individual, again, he was a fitness manager for the company. So he delivered a very good Equifit by Equinox standards, right? And so part of my intrinsic motivation at the time was definitely about sitting across from somebody who put an InBody form in front of me and showed me my numbers, and who, you know, put me through an FMS, and me walking out of there saying, he just told me I have imbalances and I don't like my body fat number. We got to make change. Right? I also went into that Equifit knowing that I was going to buy personal training. Right? So I'm not necessarily the quintessential client coming through the doors who like has an eye-opening moment and then decides to train. But I think we all know that I was probably going to be the better client anyway, because I already knew I was going to buy personal training sessions. Right. And I ultimately picked him because he showed me that he knew what he was talking about and that he had some empathy. Right. Like he wasn't just like, here's your numbers, you got to hit your numbers. He just was very matter of fact, like, here's your information. Right. I think over the long haul of working with him, again, the fact that he was someone who was willing to share information and wasn't afraid. And when he didn't have the answers, was always willing to say, let me get back to you. Or I don't know, or you know who's really good at that stuff? My other trainer out on the floor, blah, blah, blah. Have you met him or her yet? And so that, I think, also informed my experience. But then I've always believed that there are people who are experts in what they do, and you seek out the experts. So again, like, I just knew that that's something that I was going to want to have access to anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because like, I feel like most of us as coaches, we try to, or maybe not all of us, but like we try to like make it more refined, like have a more refined approach. And we try to make that first initial meeting as like groundbreaking as possible. But you had already explained that going into it, you knew that this was what you wanted to do and this is the direction that you wanted to go in. But also he could have blew it, right? Like he could have just said something and he could have just locked in on, you know, this body fat, you got to get rid of this body fat, right? And that would have turned you off and you would have been like, you know what, maybe let me try somebody else, or maybe let me just try to do it on my own for a while because I don't feel right with somebody telling me like how I should be, right? So
yeah, the journey was mine. And I definitely, I feel like I have always sought to replicate that with anyone that I work with and that I continue to work with, right? Like and I treat people like individuals. And I think that right, like that's the personal training, that the person in front of me, it's their experience. I'm the trainer, I'm the coach, but I am not the one receiving the service. I am providing the service. And so how can I help this individual achieve their goals, right? That means I have to really listen to what it is that the goal is, what it is that they want to be getting out of the sessions, and then be able to deliver that, right? And I'm a big believer, and I've always said this, right? Like I'm a big believer in all of the coaching methods that we learn through precision nutrition, right? And I'm a big believer in listening to people and asking questions and asking why and teasing those elements out. I don't think that's necessarily something that I knew when I was going into getting into a relationship with a personal trainer, that's what I was looking for in a trainer, right? I just knew that I wanted someone who was expert, and I knew that I wanted to achieve my specific goals. And this individual then came with all of that skill set, right? And delivered on it. So to your point, yeah, he could have blown it, right? He could have talked down to me. He could have been like, well, I'm a bodybuilder, and so this is how you're going to do it, and we're going to get you on a stage, and, in 52 weeks. And, he could have done something totally based off of his own agenda. And he didn't do that. And I think that was a critical piece to it all.
Yeah. That's great. That's great information that you've shared. And I'm sure that would have impacted your change, right? Like your overall change.
Definitely.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the biggest takeaways that you've had from working in a big box gym to now owning, co-owning, part owning your own space.
Okay. Well, there's a reason why there should be no chalk in a gym.
Oh, shit.
When you got to be the one cleaning it up all the time, you become really dispassionate.
Right? Like, how many things do you touch with chalk? It's probably like exponential, right?
Oh my God. And it goes everywhere. But that's a joke. We still have chalk in the gym.
You have a dispenser of liquid chalk, like a hand sanitizer machine.
Oh, liquid chalk is even worse. You would
think
like it gets everywhere. It doesn't get
it's
out
all
of
over
anything.
my floor right now.
All in the flooring. Exactly.
The flooring.
Gets in the barbell, and you can't get. It's just anyway. I was really joking, but it is a little bit of a headache. No, but I think in terms of my experience at a Globo gym, there is still something to be said, and I definitely get this from Equinox. There's something to be said about having a beautiful, aesthetic, always clean space. And what I also learned from Equinox on the flip side is that when people feel like it's just something that they are using in the moment and they're entitled to it, then they don't take care of it. But when you create community and everybody feels like they somehow are walking into a space that's bigger than just being a gym, but that they're coming in for more than just a training session, that they too then feel bought into that space. And so for me, it was a negative experience or memory or takeaway, but like community matters, right? And I think in a big Globo gym that is a big corporate structure, it takes a lot of extra work to really be able to build a sense of community in one specific, branch or in one location of the gym. I would say another huge takeaway, right, is no matter where you are and no matter who you are, again, you can have all of the certificates, you can have all of the experience, but if you aren't there for the people, it doesn't matter what your experience is. Doesn't matter what your pedigree is. And we've all seen that, right? We know some really elite trainers who can't get it together because they can't communicate or they can't relate to the individual clients in front of them. And we've seen plenty of them come and go, because it's really hard to be in that kind of environment. And right, having clients who want to come back and feel like they're relating to you is essentially how you make your money. So
a lot of that stuff I think has to do with, like, I think you mentioned this earlier, the culture of the gym, right? It's, especially for people that are coming in as trainers. Everybody wants to fit the mold of what a trainer should be, quote unquote, and then they really can't be themselves. And the client sees them, like the member going into the EcoFit or assessment, whatever, sees it. Like, they know you're there to sell something.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to, go through the script of, well, this is what I know. I have 55 million certifications. And then the guy's like, I don't fucking care. I mean, if you and I can't have a good rapport, it's like, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to. It does play into that, just trying to be yourself and trying to get it, have a good relationship with people. So it takes you a whole way. Because it's helped me a lot in the past too, just having good rapport with people.
Yeah. Cool. I also, I was a big fan of Equinox. I continue to be a big fan of Equinox, even though I'm not there. I had a wonderful experience, and I believe wholeheartedly that as rough and tough as the startup period is, as a starting out tier 1 trainer at actually any Globo gym, you become a trainer, you become a business owner. If you can get from tier 1 to tier 3+ or tier X or whatever at Equinox and bring home your money and build a strong clientele, you are definitely able to make it out on your own. And it's your choice if you ultimately decide to leave. And the right way to leave is to not take all the clients with you, but you have everything that it takes to rebuild a business. Like if you can make it through that environment, there's nothing you can't do. And I value it, and the sales component of it, like figuring out, because guess what? It's real. You have to sell. And it's how you sell. And if you can deliver with authenticity and you can remember that individual in front of you is what it's about, the sale becomes very easy. But if you can still remember how to deliver with professionalism, be on time, have a standard process so that you treat everybody the same, even though you're tailoring to their needs, you have the recipe for success, right? And then if you can learn how to manage your floor shifts, manage your equifits, manage your, look at your paycheck. Did I get paid for all of those things? Did I do my timekeeping? The organizational skills that you build, like those will follow you for life, right? So like it's the school of hard knocks, but I'm going to emphasize the school piece. And now that I am in an environment where I'm entertaining other trainers coming in and renting space from me to train, I've seen the difference between the non-Equinox trainers and people who've worked at Equinox before. And I hands down will say, if you're going to start out as a trainer, the best place to go is to get a job at Equinox.
I have a question. I mean, now that we're in quarantine, right? It's, have you been able to get, or have you gotten any new people, to train virtually? Because right now, it's hard. I think a lot of people need to learn how to, relearn, let's say, how to train somebody. Is there something that, you could tell the viewers or to us that has helped you, because you have the 3 forms of training, right? You have audio, right, visual, and tactical. Right now, you're missing one that's very important.
Right. And I would argue that actually the visual might be there, but it's not 3D. Yeah. And right. And it's on delay. And the tactical piece is missing, right? So like, it's really hard. I have picked up a couple people who either have come to me from word of mouth. Like I picked up someone in San Francisco who is pregnant, and she's one of the best friends of a client of mine who has been with me pre, during, and post pregnancy. So she automatically referred her to me. We wouldn't have even thought of it probably, right, if we hadn't been in the midst of pandemic and I had been doing Zoom sessions and virtual sessions. And she thought, oh, wait a minute, why don't I just put you in contact with this woman? And I will say, doing an assessment with someone, watching, their new movements for the first time, trying to figure out how to cue them verbally, when you have no clue about them, right, is really challenging, right? And I don't know if you guys have had that experience yet, but that's probably been the hardest thing for me thus far. Mm-hmm. But you figure it out, right? Especially if you know you're moving and you trust yourself and you know what you're doing and you're confident, like you figure it out. And we're off to a good start. I also have, someone who saw me on Instagram and saw that I'm not doing much. Or that I'm doing a lot with very little equipment, and wants to work and totally vibes with this body positive kind of approach that we're bringing. And, we're off to a good start. But it's a very different environment. I'm definitely you guys know this about me. I'm a tactical trainer. You're not. I want to touch. I want to be able to help you, set your form correctly. I really appreciate human interaction. To me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so it's a new human interaction, but it is virtual, so it's hard.
I saw you post something about your nutrition, about you had a big plate of chicken. Was that you? I got instantly hungry.
I did.
How has your nutrition been with this quarantine? I mean, you have your own shop, you're selling food. Has there been a shift in how you plan your meal? Because I've had issues with meal prep in general. It's just, for me, my biggest thing is I'm afraid that I'm going to let something go bad, and I don't want to make all this food and not eat it, at the end of the day.
Right.
How have you been managing your meal preps around this time?
Yeah. Okay. So, it's been a challenge and a journey for sure. I am still counting macros. I'm counting my macros kind of at a maintenance level right now. And I was doing that beforehand too. Because, stress. When you've got two businesses and now more stress with the pandemic, right? And the fear of what's to come. And so, I'm going to take this moment to say that I wouldn't recommend to anyone that they be trying to cut or mass right now, right? Because if you're trying to mass right now, you're going to gain a lot of fat mass with all the stress that we're all feeling. Yeah. And if you're trying to cut right now, you're probably going to end up gaining a lot of fat mass, right? Trying to cut in the midst of stress right now. And so, not where I think anybody should be. All right, I'm off my platform. Yeah, it's been hard, right? Because I'm in the same boat. I don't want to cook excess food. I'm lucky that, I'm cooking for other people. So chances are the food's going to get eaten. But I think in that same post with the plate of chicken, I had said, I used to be very religious about prepping for the week. And that's because my life is so highly scheduled in real life. I'm here and I got to get my kids to soccer and I got to do this and I got to pick them up and I got to go there and, I've got clients and, I got to go help out at the store or whatever. Yeah. So we were just constantly on the go. So if I didn't have food prepped, we weren't eating, right? Or we were going to be ordering a lot of takeout, right? Or eating our own restaurant food, which a lot of it is deliciously grilled, but a lot of it's fried. And guess what's faster, right? So it'd be easier to be give me some fried shrimp instead of some grilled shrimp. So definitely needed to stay on top of meal prep. The first couple of weeks, we all ate like crap, right? We were eating, I was definitely comfort eating. I was looking in the cabinets to find stuff. We were buying junk food. We bought all this pasta, like everybody else. We did all the hoarding in the beginning. And then at some point I just realized it wasn't going to work, right? And the same way that I said earlier that I was looking just to move, just to be able to release and dispel all the energy that I had. I realized that I was also trying to manage nervous energy by eating. And so I just said to myself, I have to put a stop on that. And so I need to hold on to some practices that help me maintain normalcy. So for me, being able to say, okay, I'm going to open up my macro counter and I'm going to actually load it in and I'm going to load up the veggies. And we were very lucky that, the market by us is very big and they're able to keep it clean and stock produce. And I just kind of went and just started buying tons of fruit and tons of vegetables and just saying, hey, we're just going to eat. We're going to eat the plants. Yeah. And then, with meat, just trying to be very mindful about not overeating meat, not under eating meat, and just keeping a variety because I believe in those sort of premises, right? Mm-hmm. And so just varying the protein sources.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I think a lot of people now are still sort of in this gray area where they don't know what to do. I mean, how long has it been since March, right? And
yeah.
I think when people start panicking, that's when everything sets in. It's I gotta order out. I don't have time to cook. Whereas you're at home, not doing anything. Cool.
Right.
It's something that I think us as trainers need to teach our clients, and then hopefully by word of mouth get people to continue going and not think that they have to eat a certain way just to,
Yeah, and I
body
think,
back.
we all as trainers have probably been on that journey too, right? Because there's this weird relationship between food and fitness.
Yeah.
And the distorted relationship, right? But like once you sort of get past all the distortions, right, it's very clear cut what you need to do, right? You need to eat to live. And you need to eat to sustain the activities that you engage in. And a lot of us are sitting at home, and a lot of us, especially in New York, right, it's so weird, right? The restaurants are closed down, but they're still delivering, and we want to support small businesses. And so it's real easy to just go and order takeout to support the small business. And then you got all, we're still, even in this state of pandemic, we still are victims of overabundance.
Yeah, take out cocktails. Yeah, just go to the bar, which walk
Right?
around with margarita.
10 weeks ago, that shit was illegal.
Yep. It's everywhere.
Real.
Right? Now it's like we have a special permission. So I just feel like, the truth be told, that everybody, no matter who they are, right, I feel like everybody has to kind of manage this situation in a way that feels right to them.
Yeah.
There is no right answer. And I think for me, what I realized is that I do need to just focus on, because I'm a habituated type person. I love routine. I love habit. So for me, being able to reproduce or replicate my day-to-day habits actually has been therapeutic for me. For other people, that's not the case, and that's not necessarily wrong.
I agree with what you're saying. In the first 2 weeks, everyone kind of like is in like a limbo of, is this a 1 week thing, a 2 week thing, a month thing, and habits and routines are kind of thrown off. It's and like you said, like then at a certain point, I think if you, like you said, you had realized like, no, I need the structure, the routines, and if it meant like going to sleep at a certain time, if it meant, like you said, if your son, like even though he's still going to do Zoom like from bed or from brushing, like to separate that it's not a vacation to you still need to school, you still need to study, you still need to work. Those are things that had worked key for me as well. Like I still need that hour of resistance training or working out a day. I still need that set hours of meals in the day. Like I can't, like just going insane if you wake up at like 11, nothing till 5 p.m. I haven't eaten, and then you just screw, like that to me came real quick, like to get that kind of routine. So I think it's interesting when again, it's not wrong. It's like if your way of dealing with stress is to have now no routine, no rhythm. Like when we spoke with Diana, she said she's using this time to have no stress because her whole routine in life is revolved around her competitions and her lifts. So now she's using this time to just completely reset. She doesn't feel lifting, she's not lifting. And that's okay. And that's like her way of dealing with this pandemic. Like you mentioned some to yours, and ours, like Angels and David's also, was like, I don't know, my way of dealing with stress is training. It's like my way of like helping me sleep. It's my way of being like, all right, this whole pandemic is stressful, but hey, like my mental health is in a better direction now that I've done some kind of training, So I think it's quite important you say that. Like, it's not a right or wrong. It's just whatever you feel is best. And
it happened to me a couple of days ago. Like the whole thing about not feeling like training. Like I had my mat out, had the kettlebell right in the middle. I set up. I was about to do a swing, and as soon as I hinged down to pick it up, I said, "You know what? I don't want to do this," and I put it away. and then like
10 on the
and
Xbox.
I've had days like that too. Like, and I've even like posted about that experience where I've had days where I like have a plan, like my workout's planned, I know what I'm gonna do, and then I walk up to it and I either don't do it at all or I change it up entirely and do something totally different. And I think that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
And there have been days where, and you can't do it a lot, but I've done my best to keep my schedule, again, in the interest of our business, right? Have tried to keep my schedule with clients who still want to work. and still keep my kid going. So like there are things that keep me routinized anyway. But there definitely have been days where I'm like, I don't want to do any of it. And if my kid has said, like my kid today said, you know what, there's something for school that I just don't want to do today. And I was like, fine, don't do it. Like, what's the good of saying to him, you must do it, right? Like the routine or the practice to which it works for you makes sense, right? But at the same token, like, I don't want to cling on to something for the sake of clinging, right? And same thing for anyone who's got to let go, right? Like if you need to let go, but don't let go for the sake of letting go because it's, you know, the pandemic and right? Because it's also not party time. We're not like, it's not party time.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, you know, Diana, knowing Diana, right? Like that's probably the best thing for her, right? Is to just mellow out for a bit, right?
Yeah.
And just chill. And she's going to be even that much better in comp when the comp time finally comes again for having had time. Yeah.
It's also like piggyback off that last point where like if you don't want to do something, I think I agree. Like it's totally okay to have that day where, you know what, today I'm just gonna eat this, so I don't mind. Like, but then it's also arguably within reason, right? Like we can say, all right, today I don't feel like doing this. Like let me just take a day to reset myself physically, mentally, whatever it is. But to distance ourselves from continually doing it, right? Like with Malachi, for example, if he didn't want to do it today, he's like, okay, but you gotta do it by Monday, you know, like within reason. I think that's another thing that's important to highlight with some of us who, you know, may struggle to, like we mentioned, like the lack of wanting to train because we don't have our gym. That's if that's the way the person feels is the best way to deal with their stress levels of this pandemic, then that's not a problem. But we spoke about the longer this went on, the more people were realizing that, okay, now this isn't going away. All right, let's look at training, right? Like the first 2 weeks, there was almost no one who was in class training. And then like the more it went on, more people reached out. So the more we realized, okay, you know, this is a pivotal part of like my daily living. So just kind of piggyback off that's why I think it's important. Like again, more people are realizing that. Yeah, I know that. Like, for example, when the gyms are opening in a lot of states of Texas and Florida, so one of the first things I see is like people are happily dishing their cartons of milk and their little 10-pound weights, and like, yeah, I mean there will be a bit of that, but it's I think it just goes without saying.
Yeah, I agree, and you know. On the flip side, what's really crazy is we're going to be in week 11. Looks like New York City is going to go a full 12 weeks, right, under closure, and then we've got another, if we're lucky, at least 6 weeks before gyms get to open, right? So like we're in this way into summer, and we're all going to get used to living this different life. And then we're going to have to deal with change yet again, right? Because now we'll have had 3-4 months of inbred's not the right word, but patterned experience, right? And we're going to have to repattern again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think we as trainers, right? Like we have a big job ahead of us with the people that we've been working with who are going to return. And we're going to have a lot of, quite frankly, trauma, right? To have to help people unpack, and it's going to be in their bodies, right? We know trauma gets stored in the body, right? And so how we train people, like we got to be really smart about, like, there's nobody going back to their 300-pound deadlift tomorrow, right? Like we all have to start back from scratch with our own bodies, like with the people in front of us, right? Like we're not out of the weeds with this. This is going to be a hell of an experience.
I think the first session I'm going to have is just sitting my client down and be like, all right, how you feeling? What's up?
Yeah.
Not even doing anything.
Yeah. And I think we all need to kind of like remember that too, right? Because we might do it for ourselves, or we might start to slowly incorporate things, but your clients might need to have that like even pitched a different way, right? Like maybe you need to get them to hold a bar and have a bar like underneath them for a while, right? And train with that as opposed to like just loading it up completely, right?
Yeah.
Because even even just like the type of tool that you use. You've been using kettlebells, or you've been using, whatever, your dumbbells or anything that you have around the house, but the equipment itself is going to feel different. And we have to progress that and remember to progress that and regress that. Right. So
yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really huge piece to what we do, is just remembering to start from scratch.
yeah.
I did going back from, you mentioned your original trainer Equinox, and he was always doing certifications and constantly looking to expand his resume or his education. Like, are there any certifications or skills that you're still looking to learn?
So I'm someone who also took, again, because I saw what my trainer was like, and because I'm 100% a nerd, took a lot of courses in the beginning and have continued, continuing at across those different courses, and then have now had time to actually learn what it is, implement and learn what I learned, if that makes sense. And then I recently, a while back, I got a certification as a breathing instructor, a breathwork instructor. And so I've been doing a lot of continuing education in that realm. I'm considering doing level 2 with precision nutrition, but that's a huge commitment. And I've just, again, with the startup of the businesses, have just been basically a tier 1 trainer all over again. And you can remember what it felt like to have 1,000,001 things going on all the time, and being in that environment. I did do my USAW level 2 last year. And so, I definitely am always looking at different things. Some of the stuff that I'm looking at more now is more coaching centric. So not just within nutrition, but also just within the world of fitness. And so those are certifications that require a little bit more time involvement. Yeah. These are programs, right, that are like over the course of a year, over the course of 2 years. But I really feel like that's kind of what I'm hungry for right now. Yeah.
When is the expansion coming? Form Fitness.
Funny you should ask. I think Maury will be okay with me saying this out loud, because we really believe in the power of manifesting. The more you say things, the more they come true. We were very lucky that in our first year of operation that we were very successful in what we sought to do and what we were able to make happen. And so we went into the year with a little bit of reserve. That reserve is ultimately what's helping us stay afloat during these rough months. But the idea was that we would, either go back to our current landlord and say, hey, we know you've got more retail space available, we want it. Or even potentially, if we had to, break a lease and go elsewhere. A lot has changed in 12 weeks, so it's unclear what that timeline looks like, but it's definitely something that I would like to see happen. I think what we've done, our model is, without getting into too much of the detail and letting other competitors know too much.
We'll delete it, don't worry.
No, but I think, we have an interesting business model that I think makes sense for independent trainers to really flourish, while at the same time allows us to do what we need to do. And there's a lot of room. At least, 12 weeks ago, there was a lot of room for growth. I think there still will be. It's just, it's harder to speak without really knowing what's to come.
Well, best of luck, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. That sounds
Thank
exciting.
you. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I really mean it. I had a wonderful experience at Equinox. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. And I think while I was there, there were plenty of times when I thought I could never leave. A lot of it's comfort, right? The comfort of having a paycheck, the comfort of having benefits, right? The comfort of knowing that there's always someone going to walk through the door and it's just my opportunity to turn them over into a client. And you lose all of that, right? When you are on your own. So, there were plenty of times when I definitely thought to myself, oh, I could do that someday, and then ruled it out. But I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad that I did it with my experience at Equinox.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta hit up Form Fitness someday.
Please do. Please.
Post,
Even just come for a workout. You can drop the weight. We got concrete underneath us.
Perfect.
Nice.
I just walk in with jeans, drop the weights, and leave. That's all I wanted to do.
That would be the David Bravo way.
Yep, that's all it is. We don't want to take too much of your time. You're
Okay.
Where can we find you online? Where can our viewers find you online if they have any questions in regards to, training or questions regarding business or anything like that,
Yeah. So folks, I'm probably most active on Instagram. So you can find me at Fran_Del_Lugo. And all of my contact information and Form Fitness information are all attached there. But then you can also go to Form Fitness BK on Instagram, and it's formfitnessbrooklyn.com.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll have you on in the near future. Of course. I'm sure we'll have you on when.
Great seeing you after a while.
Yeah, it was very good seeing you.
Last time I spoke with you was years ago.
I know.
Same.
I mean, I still need to make my way back uptown too. It's been forever since I've been up there, and I in the beginning was trying to do things the right way, so had to make sure that folks had their room to grow into their roles, but also then when I parted ways, I played the game the right way and followed all the rules. So, but now things are different, and hopefully when we get back to normal, I'll be able to make a visit up that way too.
We like that.
Yeah. Miss you guys. Although you guys are all in different places too, so we'd have to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Angel are at Sports Club now since January.
Know.
Yeah. But,
well, I have to make a visit to Sports Club.
No one has to.
David Ote's still there.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
Okay, so that's even more reason for me to come visit Sports Club. He's one of my favorite people at Equinox.
There you go.
On Earth.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Perfect.
And is Renee there too?
Yeah,
Renee
is awesome also, yeah.
All right, so David, you're just going to have to come over to 76th Street, and then whoever's left over from our days at 76 can just come on over to Sports Club.
I'll go to Sports Club, fine.
No, I really should make a visit both ways and visit 92nd Street. I got a lot of stomping ground.
No, yeah, 76 will always be home, at least for me. I remember when this whole thing went down, I had just finished my day at Sports Club, and I told Jacques, I was like, I'm heading over to 76 really quick to get a workout in, because I knew it was going to be one of the last days that I would work out in a gym for a long time. That's at least how it was you saw it on the news and they were closing places. I was like, all right, if they said 8 p.m. today they're closing their doors, they never close their doors. I was like, I'm going to go get a workout in and pick up a Viper.
Yeah. Of course. But yeah, no, it is home, and we had an amazing era there. And everyone who has since moved on to do other things is everyone's doing great stuff. But it would be so amazing just to have a reunion. I miss the hell out of all you guys. All right, so we'll have to make it happen.
All right, thanks, Francine.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'm really excited and proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so that was Francine that was able to join us today. That was pretty cool, seeing as we hadn't actually talked to her in a little while, especially as she had started the whole process of opening Form Fitness in Brooklyn. So it was awesome she got to talk to us today.
Yeah, it was good talking to her, good catching up and all that stuff, and learning a little bit more about like what she's got going on in her new and upcoming projects.
Yeah.
What do you guys have going on rest of this weekend, rest of today?
Weekend looks pretty chill, I think. So, continue my workouts. I think I have to go to the Upper West Side tomorrow, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I saw David. When did we see each other? We saw each other like, was it last week after last week's episode?
Yep.
Yeah, so I saw David. So I'm gonna try to have a plan to see David at least once a week. We'll see what ends up happening. Gotta make sure Baby Yoda's okay.
Here.
And Georgine dropped by earlier this week as well.
Some donuts.
She gave us some donuts. So
I saw that. I'm like, oh, I see how it is. Shit. Georgine, if you're listening to this, I see you.
Side. So I got to give her back her Tupperware. I got to figure out how not to have my dumbbells flying across the apartment. And just so you guys know, like this might also be something our listeners might be interested in. I saw on the dorm project, Amanda's thing that she's got going on, Brian's Amanda.
Uh-huh.
She posted something, or they posted something the other day about Harvard having like some online classes that are free.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so Harvard and MIT kind of teamed up and put some online classes together. Some of them are free. I think there's like a solid like 30 that are free, and then like another 60.
You pay for a certificate or something?
You can pay like for a certificate, like $100 or so, but you don't need to buy the certificate. So, I enrolled in one of these classes without the certificate.
What's the link?
It's like an class. And then actually when I spoke about it to my mom and my dad earlier this week, and my mom was like, oh, I should do something. And, I set her up with a class, and she's going to get a certificate. But now I need to teach her how to use like discussion boards and things of that sort. So that is going to be...
That's not that easy either.
It's not easy. It's not. You remember that stuff, right? Y'all had discussion boards.
Yeah. But I also just finished something last week on EDX on the neuroscience. So like, it was through the discussion board and through the question discussions at the bottom that helped me learn some of it. But that's not, every system is different, right? Like EDX said that it's a 5-week course. You take your own time to do it. And then a week after I signed on, it's like, oh yeah, these questions are no longer available to be graded. You just lost out on that percentage. I was like, what? Like, you told me this whole thing was take your own time.
So it is through EDX. So that is
that's what I've been doing. Yeah, It's good.
What's the link? What's the link for these classes, Angel?
I think if you like just Google, I had the link at one point, but if you Google Harvard online free courses, or just Harvard free courses, you'll see.
I'll look that up.
But they have like a library of courses that you can take, and then once you sign up, it links you into EDX, and then through EDX you do your assignments or whatever.
So we have a lot more downtime right now. It's, if anything, if you can enhance your qualification, and it's a good time to do it.
Find the motivation for it.
Well, that's why I've taken time off since last week. Last week I finished. I haven't really done too much. I worked on our website and my website this week. I think Monday I'm going to start I've got to finish stuff for my certification, my CEUs as well. Like I'm doing a good fitness one, lacking the motivation, but like just...
Dude, I bought that RKC course online for like $50. I've yet to do it.
Yeah.
It just takes time, right?
I think as long as you try to find something that is, like for me, I think something that's slightly outside of my wheelhouse keeps me engaged, right? Like something that I don't know 100% of everything about, right? And I'm just like, you know what? I haven't really thought too much about this, but like, Francine was talking about breath work, right? Like maybe a certification in breath work might be beneficial for me and my clients going forward. So trying to choose something like that. And I think with CEUs, maybe that stuff helps out.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like we spoke about routines and habits. Continue doing them or having some, and that has giving me a bit of purpose of like what do you want? What is that? What's so funny?
That's before
Thanks, Jacques. Fuck.
That's before you had the blonde hair, the stand.
Before the blonde hair, TBT.
Yes, Stan.
TV.
Man.
What was I saying? No, I think it's that helped me have something to do every day, 2 hours of studying or something. So.
What do you got going on this weekend, Jacques? What plans do you have?
The last few weeks I've been trying to do like a weekly shop to Trader Joe's. You know, I've definitely missed that in this pandemic. That's kind of sucked. David, let's look at your picture just whilst I'm talking. I can't wait for this. I don't know what else. I had something else planned. Probably try and work more on our website, more on my website. I started watching Fauda on Netflix.
Is it good?
It took me an episode 2 to get into it, just because the subtitles and the dubbing is a little off. But I'm trying to watch that with something else to keep me going, because I finished Waco. Yeah, look at that, hilarious! I'm dying.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, right. And then Waco,
sexy.
I finished watching, which was kind of crazy. What's up?
I said, okay, big sexy.
Oh, big stakes with the glasses.
For some reason, I just noticed this. They fucked up the picture. Look at the train.
No, it's just you. Tron.
What?
Yas, Tron.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, I was gonna say. Also, I watched this. There's a series on Hulu called "Who the Bleep Did I Marry?" But they have like spin-off episodes, which is like "Who the Bleep Did I Employ?" And there's one episode with this guy in Atlanta. He was hired as a broker or something. And this guy got let go, and 3 months later came back and shot the whole place up or something.
Oh, I think I heard of that.
He shot his boss. He shot his boss 4 times, and the guy lived. It's like,
What?
yeah, dude. This stuff is. It's Who the Bleep Did I Hire or something. It's on Hulu. It's like the 5th episode of the 4th season. But
I
it's
saw
like,
Uncut Gems yesterday. That shit was hard.
oh, I heard that's good also.
Jesus.
Man.
Crazy, right? What about you guys?
Bodyguard was good.
Mom.
That annoyed the fuck out of me. It's like every time, Mom, you mean ma'am?
A Scottish person wouldn't say ma'am like that. Like they go mum. I mean, look, I've got Scottish relatives obviously, and like he's a great actor, right? He's in Game of Thrones, and I also didn't realize he's in Rocket Man, which we watched the other day, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rocket Man yet.
Good. What about you guys? What are we doing the rest of the weekend?
You already asked us that.
Well, besides seeing each other.
Nothing. No.
We seeing each other. Come over to the dark side. Come back to New York.
Well, I was thinking that you could also be opening sooner, but they said in the email called the July 1st. They will be opening before July 1st, so it'll be middle July earliest. So
I got an email about reopening in New York starting June 8th. So I don't know where
what's
the
that
gyms
email
are. I don't know what days the gyms are. I'm sure they're going to be last or closer to last.
Well, Harvey just said that we wanted to open by July 1st, and that is not going to happen.
Oh yeah, we're going to get furloughed.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunately inevitable. But I don't know. A client of mine sent me an article on like where it's open in Texas, how like it's been, and I don't know, man. I don't know how your girlfriend is, Angel, like Sandra wearing a mask all day, but like the thought of like what was so normal to now wear a mask all the time, it's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment. But I've also heard rumors saying that gyms won't open in New York until September. And if we say September, guess what? Flu season comes back. End of September, start of October.
This sounds like I don't want to throw no shade, but this sounds like the T-Rex launch all over again.
You know what? T-Rex is probably not going to happen.
No, but I'm saying like sometimes
they're gonna be like, listen, guys, you guys are tier 1 now.
But sometimes
tier 1, that's it. COVID took out T-Rex. That's it.
But like what I was meaning by that is like sometimes you say like you throw a date out there just to give people the
Hope.
ability to create an outline, right? AKA hope, right? But in all honesty, like, you just don't know. So, like, you know, you say this month, you say that month, but eventually, like, you, at the end of the day, you just don't know because there are too many variables at play. So, you know, I applaud the, like, the objective, like what you're trying to do, but at the same time, like, I know that most likely they just don't, nobody knows, right? So
Nobody knows.
you control it.
But you know, the other thing I can't stand for, and I try not to do rants, but I can't stand people that think that anyone wants to be in lockdown, that anyone thinks this is a conspiracy or a hoax. If you don't know the science behind this virus,
So let them have it, Jacques. Fuck that. Let them have it.
learn the science behind it of what it does to the body.
So I saw
Let
your
them have it, Jacques.
scientifical is Old English, I think. I was
What's
like,
up?
I haven't heard that word.
Which
Scientifical.
word? Scientifical?
Scientifical, because you said scientifical evidence or something like that. And I was
It just winds me up when people are like, "Oh, fuck Cuomo." It's like, what do you mean, fuck Cuomo?
We know who he's talking about.
It's because you have someone. It's because you have someone like him as the governor, as opposed to the president. That, like, things are like slowly, like, winding down. Like, and talking about, like, someone's argument was like, "Oh, well, what has anyone like obtained or isolated the virus to know what you should have, like, medication or treatment?" I was like, I never argue what treatment you should have for it. I think, like, don't listen to someone who's advocating putting Lysol injected to your body. Don't listen to that, obviously. I think there were reports of people actually doing that. But maybe I can't speak with full sympathy because I'm not in New York right now, and obviously, like, you guys are. So my, like, thoughts go out to you guys are actually right in the thick of it. But I don't think anyone wants to be in this situation. I don't think anyone's like, yeah, I like being locked down. I like not. No one wants this. But as we probably mentioned since episode 1, like, this only gets better if everyone buys in. So I just had to have a bit of a rant and just a story, and it's like just please fucking educate yourselves before you say this is just like someone being like,
Jacques, let him have it.
Let's wrap this up.
We'll wrap it up before
I want to hear more,
full,
Jacques.
like,
Let's go.
Just,
What else you mad about?
Let's wrap this up. We had a great opportunity to speak to Francine. Francine did a great job at speaking to us about not only her career as a fitness professional, but also as a client, as a former employee of Equinox, which we all had the pleasure and the kind of like luxury to work underneath her. And, you know, we can only speak to how impactful her lessons are for us, and then also, like, her coaching and her mentorship has been. So next week we're going to figure out who we're going to get on, but it's likely to be either us again, just speaking to another point that we have, or I have a very special guest that I think is ready to launch.
Let go.
So we'll see. I still have to confirm, but I think we got one locked and loaded. But thank you guys again. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube, the Trainer Feed on YouTube, and share as much as you can. Our Instagram, the Trainer Feed on Instagram. Follow us there and share everything.
the website's almost there as well, guys. The website, I feel, should be almost done.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.